Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our webinar, Drive Data Confidence with MDO, Technical Profiling and Data Tower in Action. I am Piyu Mukherjee, and I'll be your host for today's session. Thank you for joining us. I know your calendars are packed, and we truly appreciate you taking the time out to be here. Now, if there's one thing that we agree on, it's that data drives everything: decisions, strategies, sometimes even reputations. But what happens when the data is unreliable, inconsistent, or incomplete? Confidence takes a hit. And that's exactly what today's session is about: restoring that confidence. We'll show you how MDO helps you uncover the true state of your data through technical profiling, a feature that goes deep to identify data quality gaps and improvement opportunities. And then we explore Data Tower, a powerful visualization layer that gives you a unified real-time view of your data health and performance. Together, these capabilities help you move from uncertainty to insight and from reactive fixes to proactive control. We've got two incredible speakers lined up to bring this to life. First up, we have Hai Tong, a seasoned technology leader with over 15 years of software development and solution architecture experience. He's built everything from large-scale enterprise systems to innovative cloud systems, and today he is here to share the product vision behind technical profiling and Data Tower and how they are shaping data confidence for organizations worldwide. After that, we have Akshay Singh, who will take us through a live walkthrough. Akshay is a product analyst with deep expertise in MDO, SAP, and workflow automation. He's fantastic at simplifying complex business challenges into practical solutions. And he's going to show you exactly how MDO comes to life in action. We'll end with a question answer session. So please feel free to post your questions in the chat as we go. We'll make sure to cover as many as we can towards the end. So let's get started. We start straight away with our walkthrough, and over to you, Akshay.
Great. Thanks, Pio, for the introduction. In our last session, basically we went through one view and task analytics, where we had a bit of explanation over how what DQ matrix is and how DQ matrix comes into the picture. Now we will be taking this forward today with how we profile the data technically, create and assign business rules, and finally measure overall data quality using the data tower. Now to start with the process as to what technical profiling is and how data tower works, I'll start with the small PPT first, give an overview as to what both the features are, and then we jump into the system to go through the how these features and see these features in action. To start with, technical profiling basically provides us the deep in dataset insights, providing us the details from dataset structure to the field level information, and furthermore then help us in identifying the anomalies like the nulls, duplicates, or irregular field lengths, which can impact the business process. Furthermore, getting into more detailed information on a field level analysis, providing the information of distinct, non-distinct, what's the length of these fields, and the data distributions for different type of fields, which comes into the picture of with the interactive visualizations of showcasing the charts and value distributions with the frequency maps and tables coming into the picture, which overall helps us in prioritizing the fields or the data sets which needs correction, and which helps us in furthermore analyzing what different rules we need to create, which can be assigned to the DQ matrix, and then run the data tower or the data quality based on the defined set of rules. So based on the information which we get from technical profiling, defining the set of rules and the DQ matrices, the data tower comes into the picture, which gives us more of a centralized view, providing us a single dashboard to monitor all the data and letting the need to navigate through different views. then which furthermore filters down to the specific categories like accuracy, completeness, consistency, timeliness, to visualize and pinpoint the areas or the specific dimension where we need to work on the fixing the data quality. It furthermore gives us the historical analysis, the real-time analysis, as well as the historical analysis, giving us help us in tracking down and visualizing that how my data is improving, the quality is improving over the period of time, or whether it's decreasing, and where the improvements are required, and giving us a detailed information as to how many records are compliant, non-compliant, or partially compliant, reducing the risk of regulatory violations, and helping us in reducing the manual effort of tracking and analyzing the data from a quality perspective, and providing more time for the users to focus on the corrective actions. Now, with the quick overview, we'll jump into the system and see these features in action. We'll start with technical profiling first to see how our data runs over the overall, that how many the specific widgets giving you a quick insights, like the number of records, number of fields, providing you a instant scale and scope of the data which you're looking at, whereas the fields by type provides you the data set type distribution field, a metadata distribution like text, list, reference fields, different type of fields which are available in the system. Whereas the field table gives us a technical breakdown as to how many nulls are there, distinct values are there, what's my minimum length, maximum length. Like in this example, on this particular page, we can see that we have around 2000 records, which has around 174 fields available, and most of them being of text, and the list type fields. The further table down provides us a detailed breakdown of each of these fields, um, giving us the information that how distinct values are, if there is any null values, and help us in spot anomalies immediately, and further take actions, or get into the details of these specific records, these specific fields. Now, by clicking on any of these fields, we can get into the furthermore details of analyzing how my data is for this, how my data has been created for this particular record, and seeing the detailed information. Like if we take the example of any of these fields, function location functions, basically, it gives us the quick overview of a 360 degree technical profile for that specific field, giving us the information as to what's the name, type, and size of that field. The which we can see that this is a list type, and the length is of 25 characters. The next three widgets basically shows you the summarized overall data behavior for this particular field. The unique values, giving you an information as to how many unique values are in this particular field. The widget kind of here shows us that there are 20% unique and 80% non-unique values, which gives us that majority of the entries are repeated across the data. Whereas the null values indicates whether any record is missing the data, and which we can see that most of the records, almost 97% of the records, do not have any information or any data filled for this specific field. Now, which helps us in identifying that there is a data completeness issue, and which can cause further problems with system integration or the traceability of the data. Whereas the distinct values helps us measure that how many unique values actually differ from one another, which here we can see that only 11% of the values are distinct, which kind of overlaps with the uniqueness issues, showing a high level of duplication or standard code repetition happening. So this tells us that the MPN, the particular function location field has the data filled, but most of the data is same, which indicates that there is a poor data variety, which we need, which the as a user or as the steward, I need to take action and start fixing this specific field. The next two widgets help us in analyzing the spaces which are there in this specific field across the data set, and how the data distribution or the value distribution is happening. Now, from the value distribution, we can see that it gives us the information of their null, non-distinct, and distinct values, which again, the bar clearly shows that most of the values are either null or they are non-distinct value, confirming the repetitive entries, something a data steward would flag for the investigation. The value insight table and the frequency map are the two furthermore detailed analysis of a specific field, showcasing that what's the shortest length, longest length for these field, what values have been the shortest length and the longest value which has been put in, and overall giving you the information that the value frequency map providing the count of records which are having the same values coming in, where we can see that similar number or the similar value have been used for multiple times, which could be due to multiple records having the same information, or the manual entry of the data being done by the users, with with action to create specific rules for providing the validations for uniqueness of the data, based on the scenarios, based on the requirements where this field have been utilized. So, technical profiling, basically the detailed analysis of a specific field, and then the overall view of your data set provides an instant information as to how my overall data is, where the maximum number of blank values are, how the data distribution is happening on a specific field, and then getting the furthermore detailed analysis to understand what set of rules, or what set of specific business rules we need to apply to increase the data quality of a specific field or the overall from a dataset perspective. Now, this is all something which is currently available and can be enabled for the customers. We have some enhancements already being planned in the technical profiling, where we would be providing the options to have filters coming on top, the contextual filters. Like I want to apply the filter for a document type equals to EBR, where I want to see the specific data segments to identify localized data quality issues, and first take action on a specific set of data, and then furthermore keep on working on different dimensions or different segments of the data. Furthermore, we would be having the options to download these widget information or the overall information of the technical profiling into the PDF reports or widget images, and Excel exports wherever it's applicable, which ensures that you can share the insights easily and compare the before and after quality improvements and maintain the governance traceability. Together, these enhancements make technical profiling not just a diagnostic tool, but a data exploration and a governance enabler. Now that we have understood our data behavior, its distinctness, completeness, and the overall structures, the next step would be to take actions on this. Now, as an actionable part, we would be creating specific rules, assigning them to the data quality matrix, and then utilizing putting the information and into the data tower, giving us an end-to-end view from data insights to data impacts. From here, jump into the rule creation process. Quickly go through how the rules are created in MDO, how they are assigned into matrix, how the calculation happens through a specific matrix, and then how all of that links back to the data tower. From a business rule, for every data set, we can assign a different set of business rules. Depending on the scenario, what type of rule we want to apply. There's a set of different set of rule types available, from missing checks to metadata validations, or defining specific user-defined rules, or writing the custom logic using DAX, or even defining conditional scenarios where we can define a specific rule type, what the rule name is, whether the scenario condition which we want to put is as a success condition or a failure condition, against which particular field we want to display the error information, and then define the overall condition, which gives you two options here. Like we are working in the conditional UDR, it will provide the if and else logic, where you can either define specific logic, put up a condition here for a field to check the specific value of a field, or you can add a existing rule as well as a condition or utilize both of them as your if condition, and then decide what specific scenario I want to validate in the then if then else cases, and have two different conditions defined based on the success or the failure of the if condition which you have defined. Now, this is one of the rule types which you have. There are multiple rules which you can assign, from transformations to the lookup to UDRs to missing, and even writing the custom logics wherever required. All of that is something which we can define within the system for any for the system data sets. Once the have defined a set of rules which you need based on the technical profiling, what where the data inconsistencies were, and we need to fix and take some furthermore actions, we jump into the data quality matrices. Now that's where we do the governance or the generation of the DQ scores based on the different areas or different conditions or the particular dimensions we are looking for. If you take an example of the overall DQ matrix, it gives you the information as to what rules have been assigned or what rules you can assign by clicking on the business rules section. It lists down the available set of rules which can be assigned. Furthermore, the expansion provides you the option of viewing what rules have been assigned in this particular matrix and what are other rules which we can add as a part of this specific DQ matrix. Now, before going to the other options, how the rule assignment happens basically, every rule has a specific dimension when you're creating a specific rule, which we saw in the last business rule creation page. Now, as we assign the rules, these rules will keep on getting into the specific under the specific dimensions. Now, like we can see in the consistency case, we only have one rule, so which has overall weightage of 100. So if this rule passes, and then the overall consistency gives a score of 17%, but if it fails, then it reduces your overall score by 17, giving you a DQ score of 83%, assuming that all the other rules have passed. But if you work with the accuracy scenario where we have two different rules of 50% each as the weightage, and if any of the rule fails, it will reduce your overall DQ score by 8.5%. So that's how the rule division happens within every dimension, and how the overall score assigned to the each dimension, how it accumulates to a total of 100 for generating the DQ score. Now, from the other configurational options available, we can have the binary processes having the either record is compliant or non-compliant. But in some cases, from the regulation perspective, there could be some specific scenarios where we want to define the threshold that record can be marked as a partially compliant. So that's where the partially compliant comes into picture, where we can define a specific threshold. So if when the data quality of a score of a record is generated, we can define at what particular threshold we want to mark that record as partially compliant, and if anything below that would be marked as non-compliant. And it's been taken, the compliance only happens when all the records have passed or all the rules have passed. Furthermore, we have a concept of critical data elements. Basically, when defining the metadata for any of the fields, we can mark a field as a critical data element. And if the rule containing any of the CD fields fail, in that case, it's directly marked as non-compliant, irrespective of the DQ score provided to that generated for that particular record. Similarly, if we can define a specific set of mandatory rules that if these rules are failing, then the record has to be marked as non-compliant. And apart from the list of rules which we are running to generate the DQ score, we can assign separate rules. We can link whatever set of rules we want to define, and if any of these rules will fail, the record would be directly marked as non-compliant. So this is the overall configuration from a DQ matrix perspective, like how the rules are created and how those rules are being utilized into the DQ matrix, and then utilizing these definitions or the definition of a DQ matrix, we start fixing the data, we start performing the required changes based on the rules, and then the overall information is further what we see in the data tower. Now, from technical profile, starting from technical profiling, then setting up the rules, setting up the DQ matrix. We then finally jump into the data tower, which gives us an overall snapshot as to how the DQ of my data is, how many records are there, what's the compliancy, the top widgets giving us the overall KPI. As to what's the how many records are there, compliant, non-compliant, and partial records, which gives a quick view analysis that around 2.3% records are compliant, 70 almost 76% records are partially compliant, and 22% is pretty much non-compliant records, and clearly gives us that there is a DQ issue, and we need to start looking into this and start working on actioning the start at least start working with the partially compliant records and making them fully compliant. The data quality score widget basically gives us the overall data quality of this particular data sets, and then further bifurcations into the dimensions, giving the overall percentage as to what's the DQ score for every dimension. Furthermore, it provides you two different views. One is the current snapshot of your data, whereas the timeline view as well, giving you the overall dimension scores and the DQ score over the period of time, which helps us in identify the improvements over the period of time after the cleansing activities have been done on a specific data sets based on the DQ matrix and the rules which we have defined. The data dimension chart basically furthermore gives a granular visualization and comparison showing how many records are compliant, non-compliant, and partially compliant from a every dimension basis, and helps us in immediately spot if there's specific dimension which is the weakest one and where we need to action on first. The the last two widgets, which are the attribute and the business rule widgets, provides us furthermore information on a field levels details and to the business rule level information, showcasing that what set of fields are compliant for how many records, a specific field is compliant for how many records, and it's non-compliant for how many records. So basically, in we have a number of fields defined, fields utilized in business rules. If a business rule is failing for the construction type, it would fall into a non-compliant and giving the count of records for which the rules have failed where the construction type field was used, and then providing the further information on the compliance side that for how many records the construction type rules the field have been compliant. And on the similar lines is the business rule. It provides you the information that a specific business rule have been was compliant or a success for how many records, and for how many records the same rule or the different set of rules have failed, giving you the information as to where the maximum number of issues are coming from, which specific rule is failing the most, or which particular field is having the most number of errors or failures where we need to take further actions. So data tower doesn't show you how good or bad your data is. It connects technical profiling, business rules, and DQ matrix into a living, measurable data quality framework. And from here, you can further drill into details, identifying recurring issues, and continuously monitor the improvements happening over the period of time. Now, similar to technical profiling, we are working on some enhancements over the data into the data page as well, where we would be introducing a new duplicate record widget, which would help in identifying and analyzing duplicate entries based on the rules defined in the system, and take corrective measures from this particular page. Furthermore, we would be introducing a data quality remediation view where the user would be able to click on any of the dimensions or utilize the attribute or business rule widgets to open the remediation view of these records, and this will help the users to fix the incorrect or missing information and then validate the changes against the rules which we have defined in real time, and then submit those updates via MDO change flow. And this all happens from the same page without navigating to different views or different pages to start actioning or take specific actions for corrective measures. Furthermore, just like technical profiling, we users would also be able to download their data to generate the quality insights, including PDFs, images, and the Excel downloads for reporting and sharing with the stakeholders. So overall, the technical profiling gives you a deep insights into the data characteristics, and the data tower provides you a full data quality governance layer with the actionable workflows. So you have a full complete 360 view of your data health and the readiness, and the option to start fixing, analyzing data, and perform the required changes, add specific rules, and take actions based on the outputs from technical profiling and data tower. So this was a overall walkthrough for both the features which you currently have in the system, and what's the future plan as to the enhancements which you are currently in process of building and developing those new features coming for both technical profiling and data tower. With this, I hand it over to Hai for the further take it forward from the roadmap perspective.
Right. Thank you, Akshay. Akshay, would you mind going back to the PPT to this last slide? I'd like to talk on that. Now, as you can see, what Akshay has provided is like a great way for us to visualize or how we show our users data on the platform, right? So in previous sessions, we've gone through OneView, SLA dashboard, and today technical profiling and data tower. And that's a really great way of presenting and telling you if there's a problem with your data on the MDO platform, right? But what we do is how do we take that into an actionable, so that gives you actionable insights. The question is, how do you action it, right? So in an upcoming seminar, we'll go through DIW, that's our data intelligence workbench. And the goal of that is to help you monitor, clean, and improve your data quality overall. So there are a number of features in there that will help you do that in the upcoming seminar. So we'll go through that in detail. But the key thing is there are, how we see it is we've given you two tools. One is what sort of data, how good is your data, and surfacing data problems within your environment. Then a tool to fix and cleanse that data, right? But in 2026, in the first half, what we'd like to do is to make it really easy for our users to fix that quickly and basically immediately. And that's through what we call one-click fix. Right. And what that means is if you see a particular issue on a dashboard, such as SLA or in OneView or in technical profiling, and you're like, this looks strange. Maybe I need to improve based on that data quality matrix that you have, right? You can then click on it, run DIW, which will then show you the records that is lower in quality and you want to improve that. You then can improve that without having to go through a whole process of setting up new rules, setting up schemas, and setting up all the basically all the background configuration that is going to be needed to run and fix that data. So we're going to build some intelligence, some automation, and most importantly, a direct way for you to click in and fix the data immediately. Because what we find as well is that if you are not doing it immediately, or if we're not providing an easy way for our users to fix it immediately, over time, data will degrade. So that is a very key and important part to how we bring the platform forward and help you to quickly fix data, right? So that's coming in 2026, and you then see in our subsequent seminars how all of these features work together to bring your data forward. Okay. PU, I'll hand that back to you for question and answers. Do we have anything from our participants? And take that forward.
Thank you. Hi. I don't see any questions in the chat yet. People, the chat is open for you to put in your questions, and we would love to take them up. So in the meantime, I did note down certain things that I want to ask, Akshay and Hi, and maybe we can start with that, and we go on taking the questions as they appear in the chat. Well, Akshay, I understand from what you and I have spoken about that technical profiling helps to show me patterns, distributions, data quality characteristics. But what happens if 100% of the data in a field is non-unique? What does that indicate?
Yeah. So yeah, if your data is non-unique, like all the it's 100%, basically it means that the values for all the records which you have are the same. There is no variation or different values have been put into the data. Basically, it's duplicate value being put into all the records. That's what the non-uniqueness indicates in the field profile.
Right. And what kind of data characteristics are shown in technical profiling? What do we get to see?
So technical profiling gives you the overall information from like identifying how many null values are there, distinct counts, uniqueness, what's the most used value is there, different data types which have been used and been created in a specific data sets, all that information from a metadata perspective, and the different dimensions of nulls, unique, non-unique, and distinct information. That's what the profiling provides.
Right. And Hi, you were mentioning that we are working towards one-click fix in this. So while I'm doing technical profiling and it's giving me an analysis, what I need to understand from you is that during that process itself, we would be able to make modifications, changes if we spot any problems.
Yes, so basically directly from the dashboard. So actually, if you want to go back to the dashboard.
The profiling one?
Yeah, that's the one, right. So let's say you have 447 non-compliant records, right? So what we're envisaging for 2026 is for you to be able to click on that and go, okay, fix my non-compliant records, because we know it's not complying, right? So how do we fix that quickly? Providing that shortcut based on the existing rules, which we've already defined as not compliant, right? So we know that already. So building the intelligence to quickly turn something that's non-compliant into compliant quickly, because and here it tells you there's something wrong, but we want to help you fix that immediately.
Right, that sounds interesting. Hi, are we also looking at Kai to be a part of this journey?
Yeah, so when I mention intelligence, that's exactly what we're looking at, is for our Kai, which is our AI assistants, to help really run through in the background of your data, understanding your data, and then make recommendations on how best to fix it. Right. And currently we're in the build of that. We're working through a number of approaches on how we can do that. And we're envisaging to release that in 2026.
Yeah, we've had quite a lot of interest in Kai over the last few events that we have taken part in, and I'm sure this is something that everybody is looking forward to. Going back to you, Akshay, and trying to understand again the different kind of distinct values and uniqueness that we see when we are doing the profiling. Can you give me the difference between these two things? What is a distinct value and what is uniqueness when it comes to technical profiling?
Yeah, so distinct values basically count the number of unique entries within a specific column, whereas uniqueness measures how much of the data set consists of those unique records. For example, if we have like 100 records and it contains four unique values, so the distinct count is basically four, but your percentage of uniqueness is basically 4%. So the distinction helps in identifying whether there's a low uniqueness in your record from a duplication or a business-driven perspective. That's how basically they are two different dimensions of looking at the data from the set of values which you have for a specific field, and identifying the different set of values and the overall percentage of the distribution of those values from a uniqueness perspective.
Right. Thanks for that, Akshay. And do we consider profiling a continuous activity, or is it a one-time exercise for us?
Profiling is an so basically the system runs it's an ongoing activity. So as and when you're setting up new rules or the new data is coming into the system, if you are analyzing the system would be analyzing this information and running the profiling process on a regular basis and giving you the furthermore information as to how this has improved over the period of time. And that's where the furthermore enhancements which are coming, which we are working on, of providing the PDF downloads or the image downloads, which where we can do the comparison as to how my earlier data quality was, or the my earlier profiling of the data was, and how this has improved now based on the rules which you have defined. So and this is an ongoing system driven activity. The user doesn't have to run the profiling manually. The system would be automatically on periodically basis running the data profiling and giving you the latest snapshot of the data of the current data.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Akshay. Moving on to the second part that we discussed during the webinar, which is data tower. So when you just mentioned about compliance, so we have a compliant, a partially compliant, and a non-compliant record. So what's the difference between these?
Oh, yeah. So, based on the definition or the configuration of the data quality matrix, there could be three ways your data could be segregated: compliant, non-compliant, and partial. So, compliant is basically when all the rules which you have defined in a specific matrix are passed, then we call it as that specific record as compliant. And for partially compliant, as we define a specific threshold, that let first say if my DQ score is above 60%, then I'll consider that record as partially compliant. Anything below that would be considered as non-compliant. Now, for non-compliant, there are other specific scenarios that if from the configuration, that depends on how we have configured the matrix. Like if we have enabled that if any of the CD field rules are failing, then we'll directly consider that record as non-compliant. Or if we had defined a specific set of rules and those rules are failing, then we'll consider it as non-compliant. So partially compliant if it's above the defined threshold, fully compliant if it's all the records have passed, non-compliant if it's failing any of the above scenarios of CD specific rules or below the threshold.
Right. CDE referring to critical data elements.
Yes, correct.
And it is entirely customizable. We can put whatever percentage of compliance that we would want as an organization, right?
Yes. So normally when we are doing the cleansing projects or the migration projects, normally the process starts with running different mock cycles. And initially we run with lower threshold for partially compliant, because this like we are running multiple cycles and the initial cycles would have not that much of a good quality of the data. So still to let it pass, we'll have it on a lower scale of, let's say, 25%, 30%. And as and when we keep on defining further rules, we'll keep on increasing the threshold of the data quality matrices as well. And when the new records coming up, we can do the recalculation of those particular of all the data and see how it's increasing over the period of time.
Right. Hi, my next question is to you. Is that the way we are able to fix the records directly from technical profiling, are we able to also fix data issues directly from Data Tower?
Yes, so the idea of the one-click fix that we're going to bring in is to have it basically, if you have a data surfacing interface with us, that is, whether SLA data tower or data quality matrix, etc., we will be adding, where appropriate, points where you can easily and quickly fix the data. Because the key part is not just surfacing, right? It's like it is to bring value, and the value only comes when you're actually fixing the data, not just knowing that there's a problem. So we'll be bringing in various different places and releasing them accordingly.
Right. Thank you so much for that, and we look forward to that. Um, one last thing, I mean, either of you could take this, that when we talk about compliance, and we've had large enterprise customers working with us, and we talk about governance reporting, we talk about audit trails, and general audit readiness of the data. Does this help us, technical profiling and data tower? Does it help us in being audit ready?
Yeah, so from an overall perspective, the as when we are moving forward with our running through the profiling, identifying the data inconsistencies, then setting up those specific rules, matrices, and then generating the output into the through data tower. So we have two parts of the audit trail into the system. One is from the configurational perspective. So if you're doing some changes to a specific business rules or defining new matrices, that is something which is a system-driven audit which happens. Whereas there is a change process for every record which you are changing. So it has a change log history as to when the data was changed. So that's something which you can link with that. Yes, I did some changes to the specific matrix on specific dates, and then after that, after that, I have changed these set of specific records and how my quality has increased over the period of time. Now, furthermore to that, the snapshot part which comes into the picture, which is the next enhancement which we are doing for both data tower as well as technical profiling, is being able to download this data into the as PDF or images or Excels, which simplifies the external reporting and documentation as well, and provides us a comparison as to how my quality was earlier before I set the specific set of rules, and how it has increased now based on based on those changes or the new rules which have defined how the data is improving. So that gives us furthermore audit information as well.
Right. Well, before we close, from a strategy or vision perspective, do I see a time where I'll probably be able to get an alert if my data quality score is going down below a particular threshold, or if it is becoming non-compliant? Do I just get a pop-up and say that, oh, yeah, something wrong, look at your dashboard?
So this the both the processes, the data quality as well as the technical profiling are automated processes which are running from basically the admins. This is something which we can as of now think on the lines that from a system notification perspective, the current threshold which we have defined, that if the data quality goes below a specific threshold, that could be highlighted to the stewards as to now that this is something which they need to specifically focus on. As of now, the process that yes, this is something of a regular checks, because the stewards are someone who is working on the data on a regular basis, and they would be looking onto these dashboards on a regular basis and checking where the issues are. But yes, it's a thought on from roadmap perspective where we can bring on the options of providing notifications as well on a specific, if it goes below a specific threshold. Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Akshay. And well, we are almost at closing time. I want to thank Akshay and Hai for their time, and all the people who joined us for this webinar, for giving their time and listening in to us. This webinar is going to get processed and be available for consumption. We will be sharing the link over email with everyone. And we would also want to hear back from you if you want any particular topics to be discussed in our upcoming webinars. Like I mentioned, we will be keeping the story alive, where we move on to the data intelligence workbench part of our product in our next product webinar. But if there's anything else that interests you, we would love to hear back from you. You can connect with us on our LinkedIn page, or you could directly write to us at contact@prospecta.com. And again, I thank all of you for being a very good audience and giving us your time. And we'll see you soon in our next webinar. Thanks, Akshay. Thank you. Hi.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, everyone.